Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a blue collar wine show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. As I was digging through my cellar and I ran into a bunch of Rioja, I thought, why don't we do a little episode on how the Rioja are aging. Now, he's doing. I have an 07, an 11, and a 12. Really curious about the 2007, just saying. Real quickly on Rioja, I hope to go there in April. Be kind of fun. So I'm planning that. Hopefully everything works out and I'm able to go there. But Rioja is one of the most famous, if not the most famous, area for wine growing in Spain, next to Jerez, where they do all the sherry. So very, very famous appellation. It's basically three sub-regions in Rioja. There's Rioja Alavesa, Rioja Alta, and Rioja Baja, which is now Rioja Oriental. They just changed it not too long ago to Rioja Oriental. Rioja Alta borders the west side. Rioja Alavesa, the north. In fact, most of these are in La Rioja, but it just happens that Alavesa goes up into the Basque region of Spain. And then on the east side, you have Rioja Oriental, or what used to be known as Rioja Baja. They pump out a lot of wine, 60 million gallons a year. They have like 158,000 acres of vines planted. Huge, huge production area. It runs along the Ebro River, runs through this area where they have the vineyards on the hills. There are actually two mountain ranges. There's the Sierra de la Demanda, and then the Cantabria Mountains. And the Cantabria, one of these actually says Sierra Cantabria, which refers to one of the mountain ranges. So these vineyards, some of them are high altitude. Rioja is dominated with limestone soil. However, in the Rioja Alta and higher elevation altitude, that's why it's called that. They have alluvial soils, not as much limestone. And then in the Rioja Alavesa, it's predominantly limestone. And then you get over to the Rioja Baja or the Rioja Oriental, where it has more of a Mediterranean influence. You get a warmer, drier climate. Interesting about Rioja Baja or Rioja Oriental is that it's Grenache dominant Riojas. So they tend to be fuller bodied, more fruit driven because of the warmer, drier climate. Rioja Alavesa, because it has more limestone, tends to be a little bit more acidity to these wines. And then you have Rioja Alta, which has clay and alluvial soils, tend to be a little more elegant. There you go. Just a quick rundown of Rioja. The main grape of Rioja, of course, is Tempranillo. That is the dominant grape there. They also use Grenache, as we said, in Rioja Baja or Rioja Oriental. And then they all have Graciano. And then the other one is Mazuela, which is also Carignan. That's a synonym. Tempranillo, by the way, has more synonyms for it than any grape I know of. We just did a Spanish tasting a couple of days ago, and Bazzi had a list about this long, all different names of Tempranillo. So when I went to Somm class a few years back, the first level, they said if it's from Portugal or Spain and you don't know what grape it is, it's probably Tempranillo. They call it Aragonés, and Tinto Ruiz are the two main names in Portugal. Excuse me. My eyes were going buggy on me. So let's get started. This is going to be exciting. I like doing this. I hope you guys enjoy this. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get your hands on these because they're older wines from my cellar. But I'm super excited about this. The Capriccio sorry, I can't read that. Di Landaluce 2007 Rioja. Now, the thing about, or as my wife would say, Rioja, she's from Britain, that's where they say it, Rioja. And if you listen to a Spanish person say it, almost sounds exactly like that, Rioja. But we say Rioja. This is Tempranillo, 100%. There you go, 2007. So that puts it at 13, 14 years old. Just getting over 14. Somebody commented, and I forgot to write the name down. Why do I spill out a little bit of the wine before I try it? And the reason I do that, especially the first one, is in case there's anything in the glass that might affect the taste of the wine, so I give it a rinse. And then I rinse between wines because there are slight differences that might change the flavor. That's why. I know a lot of you know that, but that was a good question. I mean, why do you do that? And let's see what we get on the nose. So this is 14 years old, Rioja, 2007. And you know the unfortunate part, unless you look really careful at the label, they don't always tell you what region, what sub-region they come from. I have seen it on some labels, but not always. It's 100% Tempranillo, so it's probably not Rioja Oriental. Just saying. Lots of currant, little leather, a little spice. It's interesting that for years the dominant oak treatment for Rioja was American oak. And American oak gives it that kind of coconut, vanilla, sweet spice thing. But a lot of them are now going over to French oak, which is interesting, and it definitely changes the flavor profile. Another flavor profile that I find with American oak is oftentimes you'll get some dill pickle components on the wine, and if you don't like dill pickle, you're probably not going to like the wine. So I'm getting some warm spices on this one. I'm getting a little coconut. You see the idea here, perhaps American oak. There's a little kind of a chocolate tone on this one as well. Let's see what we get on the palate. This baby is holding up nicely. I'm just telling you that right now. I forgot to tell you the price is $24. So it rolls in at $24. Capriccia di Landaluce. I think that's a Capriccio. I think that's a Rioja. I'm telling you what, I'm getting leather. Oh, here it is, Rioja Alavesa. There you go. See, so it's up in the north. Nice. I'm not getting the high acid on this one. Rioja Alavesa. Cool. Nice spice, leather notes, currants. I get a little tannic structure on this one. It's pretty solid. The acidity comes out on the back end for sure. I'm also getting a little tobacco notes on this one. This is a nice bottle of wine. I'm going to guess right now that this is probably getting close to its peak. Yeah, I think it might have another year, maybe. Yeah, now I'm getting the acidity on it. See, that limestone soil gives it that higher acid. Good structure on this wine. Solid currant notes, tobacco, leather, a little bit of earth coming through as well. Wow. Pretty nice wine. For 2007, it is holding up well. I think I have one more bottle. And this one will definitely age nicely. This is exciting. 2007. How often do you get to change? You know, I know a lot of you have tasted older wines. I think the oldest wine I've ever tasted, I believe, is a 1947 Bordeaux. I believe that's the oldest I've tasted. I can't remember if I tasted an older port or not. By the way, in the comments, what is the oldest wine you've tasted? And was it any good? So that's always the risk when you age wines. I'm happy with this one. I think it's solid. Earth, currants, good acidity, good structure, leather, all that is in there. A little bit of tobacco as well. Yeah, maybe another year or two and then it'll start going south. But right now, it's in the north, baby. Tobacco really hangs on big time. I'm going to go for this wine. 2007, $24. I'm going to go straight up A. I think it really, really rocks. And if I remember right, way back when I bought it, tried it the first time, it was really good. Now, I don't see, let's see, does this say Crianza? It doesn't say Crianza. You know it's not a Joven. Joven means new, so usually Joven, if it says Joven on it, means it needs to be drunk within the first 2 years. If it says Crianza, it means it has to be aged 1 year in barrel and 1 year in bottle. If it says Reserva, it has to be 1 year in barrel, 2 years in bottle before it can be released. So 3 years before release, and then Grand Reserva, 2 years in barrel, 3 years in bottle. So they're actually 5 years before it's actually released. A lot of people like the Grand Reservas. And we have a 2000 and I believe it's 2011 La Antigua Clásico Rioja, and this is a Crianza. So 1 year in bottle, 1 year in barrel, 1 year in bottle. 13.5 alcohol. This rolls in at $22. So 2011. So this is a little over 10 years old. Curious if this tells you what part of. So this one says 70% Tempranillo, 20% Graciano, and 10% Garnacha. And it has it up in the north part of Rioja. Okay, there it is. It's a little map on the back. So I'm guessing that's Alavesa as well. Yes. Very interesting. 2 Alavesa in a row. Cool. Okay. Let's see what we get on those. Color first. Pretty dark. I don't see. I was looking at the edge because I'm looking for a little brown, which we can do sometimes. You know, that just tells you it has some age on it. This has just a touch of that on the edge, but still pretty dark. Let's see what we get on the nose. Well, this has a little mintiness on the nose, which is real interesting. Almost a little funkified, like minty cola. I'm getting tobacco on there, a little coconut as well, so I'm guessing American oak. There's some spice notes coming through. I get that kind of it smells a little bit older to me, which is interesting because that one didn't as much. Yeah, I'm just dying to know. Is this it? Does it even say what's Crianza? This could be a Reserva, but they don't say on it. And it really means something in Spain when you see those on there. It really does have a meaning. We see so many areas in the U.S. where they just put Reserva on it, and it really doesn't mean anything. There's no regulations, but in Spain, it's a serious deal. A little old, kind of dusty leather. Let's see what we get on the palate. Good acidity. Nice leather notes coming through. There's also currants on this one. I'm even getting a hint of pomegranate and maybe some blueberry as well. Still good structure. There's tobacco on the back side of this. Nice flow across the palate. Good balance. Nicely integrated elements. This one's a solid wine as well. The nose kind of scared me. You might have noticed. Just a little scared. But on the palate, wow. Solid Rioja, a little lighter than this one, but still good acidity, good balance, good tannins, nice tobacco on the finish, that nice leather. That's what I like about Rioja. Sometimes I'm not getting any dill pickle on this one at all. Maybe, no. But, you know, I don't know the oak treatment on there. This could be American oak. I sense that it might be. It has that nice old, kind of warm, you know, like that old pair of shoes you put on. You know, they're really comfortable. This is just a really nice wine, well-rounded. I think it's getting close to its peak at this point, but very solid wine. $22. So I'm going to go on this one, considering the price and the quality, I'm going to go B+, A-. Solid wine. Let's move on. Now, the one that's named after one of the mountain ranges is 2012. Rioja Sierra Cantabria. This rolls in at $14, so I had to bring one that was a little bit less money. I'm really curious about this one. So this is a 12, almost 10 years old. We say that because they harvest in the fall like we do. Yes, they do. Like I said, $14. Sierra Cantabria. Now these mountains, especially for, protect it from some of the influence of the Atlantic. So it keeps it from getting too cold like it does up in the north. Let's look at the color on this. I'm going to move these over here. Again, fairly dark. Not the darkest of the bunch. I think the Landaluce was the darkest. This one you can see through a little bit, but still fairly dark. Okay, let's see what we get on the nose. It's like a little pencil lead on it. A little bit of stink, a little bit of stink action, a little bit of funk. I'll use the word funk. It sounds a little bit better than stink. Pencil lead, I'm getting more of a strawberry note to this. A touch of currants in the background. I can't tell, you see, because my tabletop is browny. I don't see too much brown on the edge, just maybe a slight bit. I'm really curious about this one. $14. How is it doing? Let's see what we get on the palate. Look at this, like, really kind of cool round fruit right at the front. Almost a little chocolate notes to it, just a touch. Definitely currant, dark cherry. I missed that on the nose. More dark cherry. I'm not getting a strawberry. Yeah, it's more of a cherry note that I'm getting. There's a lot of minerality to this one. Tons of minerality. It's like crushed rock right on the backside. A very interesting, very interesting wine. Dusty rocks, crushed rock, but good fruit up front. It kind of, that doesn't explode, but it's definitely round fruit up in the front of the palate. Then it morphs into this kind of minerality. That pencil lead comes through on the mid palate just a little bit, which is interesting. Pencil lead is very common in Bordeaux. During phylloxera, a lot of the French winemakers came down to Rioja. They couldn't grow their grapes up there, so they came down. And so there's a lot of French influence in the winemaking process in Rioja. Not super exciting, but it's good. I mean, it's not bad at all. It's more simple, but it's got some nice flavors. It has the tobacco on the finish as well. A little earthiness, minerality. I like it. There's a lot. I know a lot of my homies that would like this one quite a bit, especially for $14. And it's almost 10 years old. That's really cool. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to go straight up B, hedging towards B+. So that earthiness, that kind of dark cherry, currant notes that come through, and the minerality, I love it. $14, almost 10 years old, guys. That episode I did on Can You Age Inexpensive Wines, I think at the end of that it became obvious that yes, you can. These are not expensive either. They're a little bit more than the Bordeaux that I reviewed in that one. But the $24 is the highest, down to $14, and that $14 Rioja is ready to drink now. I wouldn't go too much further with that one. And it still garnered a B+ grade. There you have it. Don't be afraid to try, guys. It's really fun. It is really fun to take wines that aren't super expensive, put them away, and just let them rest for a while. Sometimes it's hard. You got some company coming over, you want to dive into your cellar. Have some backup wines, some less expensive, kind of nice red blends or whatever you have. A case of that just to sit there, just in case that happens. So you can keep your little gems that you're trying to see how they age away in your cellar or wherever you keep it. Doesn't have to be a cellar. It can be somewhere where it just stays at a very even temperature. Try not to get above 55, 60s, pushing it a little bit. And I know they can get cold. I've aged wines that have gotten really cold, but warm, hot really hurts them. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. I appreciate it. More and more subscribers. That's exciting. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.